The night before the engagement party. My boyfriend John informed me that the engagement party was cancelled. I was stunned. What do you mean? Are we having the wedding directly? He said coldly. Let's call it off. I still can't accept a soiled woman. And what's more, the Wilson family can't marry the daughter of a murderer. My mind went blank. His words, a soiled woman and daughter of a murderer, struck my heart like a hammer. He knew my most humiliating past. And he knew what words could make me crumble. I said, trembling. John, are you serious? There was a moment of silence on the other end. We've been together for 7 years. You said you'd be good to me for a lifetime, not do you regret it? I bit my lip tightly. And the turned-off TV screen reflected my pale knuckles. A sigh came from the phone. Yes, I regret it. Ivy. Just pretend you never knew me. Let's end it here. Before I could reply, the call was hung up. When I called back, John had already turned off his phone. All of this was so sudden. I met John in the worst year of my life, pulled me out of the mud without regard for himself. And under the starry sky, he swore he would marry no one but me. I didn't understand why John had such a drastic change overnight, but even if we were to break up, it shouldn't have been with a vague phone call. I threw on some clothes and went out. Taking a taxi to his house, I hurried up the stairs and was about to knock when I heard clear voices inside. I'm really under too much pressure. For 7 years, I've had to take care of her emotions every moment. The thought of living like this for a lifetime makes me suffocate. It was John's voice. My hand, poised to knock, froze instantly. John's house was an old-style residence, with an iron gate outside and a wooden door inside. At that moment, the iron gate was closed, and the wooden door was slightly ajar. Ivy, since the incident, has had severe psychological trauma. She's always had intimacy issues, all these years. She hasn't let me touch her once. Before, I thought it was nothing. Always thought I could wait for the day she lowered her guard, but now I'm not sure. And the thought that she was touched by someone else before makes me feel a bit sick. I was stunned, as if doused with a bucket of cold water. The chill seeping into my bones. I never imagined John thought like this. He had clearly said before. Her father impulsively killed the rapist back then and was sentenced to 30 years. When relatives heard I had a father-in-law in prison, they all pointed fingers at me, saying what kind of disreputable family I had found. I couldn't stand these gossips. I didn't want to face this criticism every year when I went home. I lowered my hand, clenched into a fist, and gritted my teeth. Before, I had also been verbally harassed. People called me a slut, shameless. Relatives said I had ruined my father. It was John, with red eyes, who picked up a brick and threatened to fight these people. And only then did the comments stop. But now, he says he's also afraid of these gossips. But John, wasn't it too harsh to say that to her on the phone? It was John's friend's voice. You don't know. I've taken such good care of her over the years that she's highly dependent on me. If I didn't say that, she wouldn't agree to break up. Besides, Emily is pregnant. She's different from Ivy. She's pure. And she was my first time. I have to take responsibility for her. I suddenly looked up. I knew of Emily. I first saw her name on John's phone. At that time, he hadn't come home all night. And the next day I accidentally saw a message from her asking John to buy medicine, explained that she was just a new intern under him, and he was taking extra care of her because she was sick. He said, he took such good care of me that whenever I thought he might be cheating, I would despise myself. John is so good. He's the one who brought me back to life. How could he betray me? After I learned to love myself under his care and returned to a normal life, I thought I would usher in a happy second half of my life. But he gave me the most painful blow. John, aren't you afraid she might relapse and do something drastic again? Then there's nothing I can do. I can't watch her forever. Then there was a silence. The air filled with quiet. Sigh. I need some air. After the screech of a chair being pulled back, the inner door opened, revealing John's friend's surprised and startled face. Ivy. John quickly stood up, looking in my direction. his eyes flustered. But he regained his composure moments later. Open the door, I said coldly. The iron door was opened, and John slightly opened his mouth as if to say something. I walked straight up to him and slapped him with all my strength, causing his upper body to sway. From now on, we're even. John stood straight, tensed his jaw, and said nothing. I held back my stinging eyes and turned to leave. As I stepped out the door, I heard a faint "I'm sorry." The night was thick as ink, and I walked to the riverside under the moonlight, staring blankly at the dark river surface. The boundless despair from years ago crashed over me like a tide. Clearly remember it was a thunderstorm day when a foul-smelling drunkard dragged me into a small grove. Since that day, my soul felt ripped away, and I started having constant nightmares. Dad called the police to track down the rapist, then ignored everyone's pleas and stormed out with an axe when my only family member was imprisoned for murder. My self-loathing peaked. Ivy. Oh, Ivy. You're such a jinx. What right do you have to keep living? I tried to kill myself more than once, slitting my wrists, swallowing sleeping pills, jumping off buildings. I tried them all, but each time, I didn't die. Every single time, John pulled me back from death's door. And later he stayed by my side constantly, on every stormy night. He'd hold me tight and tell me not to be afraid. He'd repeat over and over that I wasn't dirty, that I had the purest, most beautiful soul, that I was his incomparable treasure, and under his gentle words and caring support, I got better. But oh, how could I forget that people change? When did it start? Probably the first time he stayed out all night, probably the 20th time I refused intimate contact, probably the 100th time relatives cursed and scorned him. Tonight, he finally couldn't hold on and decided to abandon me. A breeze blew past, bringing a slight chill. I watched the ripples spreading across the river surface and let out a heavy sigh. Honestly, I'd already let go of the past. After all, any pain fades with time. Now, my body might not be perfect, but my soul is strong enough. My intimacy disorder had long healed, and I no longer felt nauseated by that kind of thing. But John never touched me again after that. I lightly kicked a pebble, which landed in the water with a plop just as I was about to turn and leave. A pair of iron-like hands grabbed me around the waist, and a huge force yanked me backward. With a heavy thud, I fell into a hard yet warm embrace. Ouch, me back. My back. My back. The man beneath me cried out in pain, and I scrambled up in a panic. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Did you get injured? Before I could steady myself, my foot slipped on a smooth stone, and I instantly lost my balance, tumbling down again. This time, I landed right on him, and he even arched his back from the impact. The man laughed in exasperation. Why didn't you just finish me off? A minute later, the man sat on the bank 10 meters from the river, and I gently pressed on his nearly thrown-out back. Old? What old? My back isn't old at all. Hat's questioning me as a man. Fine. Fine. You're not old. You're not old. Really don't need to buy any ointment. I rolled my eyes, unconsciously pressing a bit harder. The man hissed and grimaced. I said I don't need it. So I don't. But you, young lady, what were you thinking? I saw you standing by the edge from a distance, and I ran fast. Otherwise, I'd have had to jump in to fish you out. I paused for 2 seconds, then continued pressing as if nothing was wrong. I didn't want to kill myself, I muttered gloomily. What? Didn't want to kill yourself? If you didn't want to kill yourself, why were you standing here for so long? Are you trying to scare me to death or what? The man in front of me spoke bluntly. I pinched the soft flesh on his waist hard, and he yelped and jumped up. What? Is there a sign here that says no standing? I'm feeling down and want to catch some breeze. What's the big deal? I snapped irritably. He clutched his waist and leaned in. Feeling down? What's bothering you? Tell Big Brother so he can help you out. I laughed and retorted. Get lost. Just then, his phone rang. He pulled it out, and a lucky charm hanging from the case swung in an arc before my eyes. The charm was slightly yellowed, clearly showing its age. It looked familiar. When I was a kid, this charm was all the rage. I had one too. But I gave it away later, okay? Okay. I'm coming back right now. Really? I'm hanging up. He stuffed the phone into his pocket, the charm peeking out from the edge. Hey. Are you heading back? Let me walk you home. In case you jump after I leave. I was both amused and annoyed. I said I won't jump. So I won't. If you say that again, I'll throw you in. Even though I insisted 1,000 times I wouldn't kill myself. The man stubbornly escorted me to the hotel entrance and watched me step into the elevator before leaving. Stranger's kindness lifted my mood a bit, took a warm shower and booked a train ticket back for tomorrow, before bed. Out of habit. I checked my phone and saw a message from Michael, just 2 simple words. Good night. This guy had added me on social media after telling me his name, pretending it was so I could call him to rescue me next time I felt suicidal. And I gave him a light knock on the head for it, after a moment's thought. I replied briefly. Haven't thanked you yet. It was a misunderstanding. But thanks for your kindness. Then I set the phone down but couldn't sleep. The 7 years of day and night with John replayed in my mind like a film reel. Removing someone from your heart takes time. Painstakingly erased John's shadow from my heart. And before I knew it, dawn broke. I rested all morning and listlessly hailed a cab to the high-speed rail station. Passing the engagement hotel, I suddenly spotted the marquee flashing. Engagement banquet for Mr. John Wilson. Welcoming all guests. What? Wasn't the engagement cancelled? I stopped the car and walked to the entrance, only to see the banquet was still on, just not with me as the star, but Emily. A poster of the two in formal wear, arm in arm and shoulder to shoulder, stood by the hotel door, a perfect match. I scoffed. John really played both sides, setting up the engagement with me while taking photos with his mistress. An elderly woman noticed me lingering and approached with a smile. Oh. You must be a friend of John's. You came all this way. That's tiring. Come on in. Take a seat inside. Before I could refuse, she pulled me into the hall. Inside, I bumped into Michael, who I'd had a tussle with last night. Hey, you're a friend of John's too. Sit here. Join me. As if in a trance, I followed Michael to his seat. John was leading Emily around to toast each table. Soon, they reached our classmate table. He wore the tailored suit I'd picked out. It fit perfectly. I'd imagined countless times how he'd look walking toward me with flowers in that outfit. But now he wore it with another woman on his arm. John froze when he saw me but quickly masked it and raised his glass. Everyone at the table stood except me. Rooted in place, Michael leaned close and whispered, "What's that look? Is he your ex?" I smiled faintly. "Yes. He's my ex-boyfriend. The fresh out of a breakup kind from last night." I didn't lower my voice, and John's face instantly darkened. The classmates' expressions were a mix of shock and amusement. Michael paused, then said sarcastically and loudly, "Ditching your old love and marrying a new one overnight. Damn impressive." Emily Brown's face flushed. John struggled to force a stiff smile. "Michael, there's some misunderstanding here." I didn't wait for John to finish. I raised my glass and stood up. Come on. Come on, today is John's big day. Wishing John and Emily a century of harmony and growing old together. Others also awkwardly echoed me and clinked glasses, after downing that glass of wine. The last bit of attachment I had for John in my heart was pulled out. From then on, he and I would be strangers, never to be involved again, amid the blessings of people around. I turned and walked out of the hotel. I stood at the hotel entrance, about to hail a taxi, but annoyingly discovered I had already missed the high-speed train, just as I was about to rebook a ticket. My shoulder was gently tapped. "Where are you going?" Coincidentally, "I can't stand this banquet anymore. Big brother can give you a ride." That voice. I didn't need to look to know who it was. I fumbled with the train schedule. "I am going back to B City." "Oh. What a coincidence. I am heading back to B City too." "I'll drive you. Don't even think about the high-speed train from here to B City. There's only one train a day. And you perfectly missed it." I looked at the interface showing even connecting trains sold out and fell silent. Michael walked around to face me. His nearly 6'3" frame blocked the sun above. Let's go. Just picked up the Maybach. Guaranteed to be comfortable, I thought for a moment. Put away my phone. Looked up into his eyes. All right. I'll pay for the toll, the man grinned, revealing white teeth. No way, am I short on toll money? Wait. I'll get the car. He hummed a cheerful tune and turned away gracefully, walking off in good spirits. 10 minutes later, I sat in the passenger seat of the Maybach, coveted by countless beauties, listening expressionlessly to Michael's loud singing. Actually, I found it a bit strange. Michael's enthusiasm towards me was unexpected. Did he have other motives for getting close to me? But on second thought, with his wealth, he definitely didn't lack women around him. And there was nothing he could want from me, probably. Just pure enthusiasm. I glanced over. Michael's phone was on a holder for navigation. A guardian sweetheart charm swaying with the car's movement. I was puzzled. This charm felt out of place with Michael. A pink anime character really didn't seem like something a man would like. I pointed to Do you really like this charm? As soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted it. Under what circumstances would a man keep a pink charm for so long? It had to be from his first love, ex-girlfriend. Wasn't I poking at his heart? I mentally slapped myself. What? Michael turned down the car music and quickly glanced where I pointed to. Oh, this. Of course I like it. It was given to me by my dream goddess. I've kept it as a memento for over 20 years. See? Poked his heart. I felt awkward. Raised my hand and touched my nose, but Michael didn't seem too sad. I tell you, my dream goddess is the best, most beautiful, most irreplaceable woman in the world. I grew a bit curious. Who could make young Master Michael so infatuated? That was probably when I was 5 years old, young and naive, thinking I was awesome all day, fearless. And then I met her. I nodded. Childhood sweethearts. A standard rich family romance start. Remember, it was an afternoon. Went out to play with my dad while he was tying his shoelaces. I dashed forward and jumped onto a manhole cover in front, but the cover wasn't on. So I slipped and fell. At that moment, I thought, it's over. I'm dead. Before my dad could react, my dream goddess descended from the heavens. She jumped down too, hugged my legs and lifted me up. She was taller than me, and when she raised me, it was just enough to reach my dad's hand. So my dad pulled me up, and a while later pulled her up too. Hearing this, I was already a bit speechless. I was so smelly then, I couldn't stand myself. I started wailing uncontrollably. My goddess didn't care how dirty her dress was. Pulled the charm off her backpack and gave it to me. The moment I took it, I calmed down. Unfortunately, she left quickly. I didn't even have time to ask her name. Since then, I've dreamed of her every day. I secretly vowed that when I grew up, I must find her. And the first time I see her, I'll make the grandest confession. Then rent city billboards to broadcast I love you daily, buy a sea of flowers, and give her a diamond the size of a pigeon egg, saying I'll marry no one but her. My eyelid twitched, and the corner of my mouth quivered. How could it be such a coincidence? I really didn't expect that mischievous little brat to grow into a 6'3" giant. Raised an eyebrow skeptically. It's been over 20 years. You'd still recognize her? He lifted his chin proudly. Absolutely, I'd know her even if she turned to ashes. I dream about her every single night. If I saw her right now, I'd drop to one knee and propose instantly. I'd give her my life. I turned my head away expressionlessly, thinking what utter bullshit. I hadn't slept a wink last night. The Maybach was indeed comfortable, and I must have drifted off at some point. When I opened my eyes again, we were already in downtown B City. Where's your place? I'll drop you off at your building, he offered. I stretched lazily. Oasis Community. You can just drop me by the roadside. Huh. What a coincidence. I live in Oasis Community too, Building 12. 17th floor, you. I turned my head slowly, inch by inch. Building 12. 16th floor. How come I've never seen you before? Whoa. Neighbor. Hey. What's with that look? Like I'm some stalker. don't get the wrong idea. I just moved in 3 days ago. Rich families have rich family drama. Okay. You have no idea how annoying my parents are about pushing me to get married. Won't give in until I find my goddess. So I moved out. I sighed and turned my head back around. Michael drove home in high spirits. I in the elevator. ID just pressed 16 when an arm reached past me from behind, brushing against my ear. And pressed 17. IT was almost an encircling embrace. What's that expression for? I really do live on the 17th floor. Come check my place if you don't believe me. Michael sounded deeply offended. I rubbed my temples. All right. Fine, I believe you. My floor, see you next time, he said as I stepped out. His voice faded as the elevator doors closed. Sprawled on the bed like a starfish outside. The sky was almost completely dark. Maybe I really was exhausted. I hadn't thought about John's mess all afternoon, but speak of the devil, just as I was about to shower, John called. Hello. Honey. Where are you? My head is killing me. Did you make me hangover soup? He sounded completely wasted. John always got clingy when drunk. Calling me honey over and over. Years of memories aren't so easy to just discard. Probably hadn't remembered we'd broken up yet. John. You've got the wrong person. We broke up last night. Your fiancée is Emily. You just got engaged today. My voice was cold and calm. There was a long silence on the other end. He must have sobered up a bit. I am sorry, he said before hanging up abruptly. I tossed my phone aside, feeling irritated, not because I still cared about John, but simply because he'd ruined my mood. I took a quick shower. Coming out, I saw several messages from Michael, using my mystical powers. I sense you're feeling down right now. I've got a bottle of 1982 Chateau Lafite here. I bet you've never tried it. Let Big Brother pour you some to cheer you up. Below was a picture of the wine bottle. Before I could reply, another message popped up. If you don't want to drink alone with me, you can invite your friends over. For some reason, my gloom lifted slightly. I typed back quickly. Calling yourself Big Brother? How rude. Call me Big Sister. I have cups. Bring the wine down. Michael appeared in gray loungewear, the ends of his hair still damp. He sat cross-legged opposite me, cradling the bottle. Hold on, you call this a cup? He gestured at the disposable plastic cup I placed before him. This is Lafite, 1982. Don't you think you're being a little disrespectful? I put one cup in front of him and took one for myself. I say plastic cup, not a cup. Stop complaining. Are we drinking or not? Michael poured the wine with the solemn expression of someone visiting a grave. Alcohol does chase away gloom. But I didn't plan to get drunk. Just sipping a small cup. Michael, however, guzzled it like water, looking every bit the jilted lover nursing a broken heart. The heartbroken Michael slumped over the table, rambling. Do you think my goddess might not remember me? We were so young back then. What if she's married? Being the other woman is immoral. Could I wait for her second marriage? Where could she be now? Should I find a psychic? Over 20 years. I've suffered so long. I've dug up every wild herb in B City. Michael wailed dramatically at the ceiling. Couldn't help but laugh. Wasn't he supposed to be comforting me? How did it turn into me counseling him? I kicked him lightly under the table. What kind of drunken nonsense is this? You're wasted. Go home and sleep. How? I'm not drunk. Who says I'm drunk? I can still drink more. I have more at home. I'll go grab another bottle. Michael stumbled to his feet, nearly face-planting before I rushed to steady him. All right. Let's go home and get it. I hurriedly grabbed my keys and escorted him upstairs. He was barely coherent, fumbling 3 times before entering the correct door code, despite his lean build. Michael was surprisingly heavy, clearly someone who hit the gym. Dragging him to his room felt like hauling a dead pig. Only after confirming his steady breathing as he lay sideways on the bed did I tiptoe out, exhausted. I'd completely forgotten about John and slept soundly, even if the sky fell. Office workers still report to work. I arrived early at the company, only to spot a familiar Maybach parked downstairs. At the front desk, I literally ran into Michael. He looked annoyingly refreshed. Eyes bright. Showing zero signs of last night's binge, he raised an eyebrow. Smirking, stalking me. Falling for your big bro. Just so you know. I've already got someone special. I scoffed. Get lost. This is my company. What are you doing here? Your company. This is mine. My dad owns it. Shocked. I blurted. But your dad's with Shangshur Group. John had called him Young Master Chu at the engagement party. His dad should be Shangxi's CEO. Yeah. Shangxi's ours too. Who says you can only run one company? I was speechless. Damn capitalists. Michael was clearly a first-time visitor. Why flustered team lead rushed down to give him a tour. Nervously explaining operations, Michael nodded occasionally. Though whether he understood was anyone's guess, eventually. He was ushered into a private office. I kept my head down at my desk. Diving into work, near quitting time. Michael emerged. He rapped his knuckles on my desk. Drawing every eye in the office. Going home. I'm kinda hungry, seriously. We're at work. Watch your phrasing. Man, and why should I care if you're hungry? The room exploded in whispers. What's the young boss doing with Ivy? They seem close. Doesn't Ivy have a boyfriend? Wasn't she getting engaged yesterday? Rumor is they split. Heard her fiancé married someone else. Michael shot a displeased glare around the room. Instant silence. Replied stiffly. It's not off hours yet. Leaving early means pay deductions. Feel free to head out first. Boss, he pretended to ponder. Nah. I'll wait. Bored alone. Just holler when you're done. He patted my shoulder and vanished back into his office. Colleagues burned with curiosity but didn't dare ask, offered no explanations, was buried in a project until 9 p.m. Long after others left, rubbing my stiff neck. I jumped as Michael yawned his way over. Finished. You're still here. You are too. Come on. Food. Starving. If I die, my goddess would be widowed and that be on you. He dragged me out for late night eats without another word. From then on, Michael became my shadow. Every morning, he'd loiter outside my door, pounding impatiently if I took longer than 10 minutes. When I flung the door open, annoyed, he'd shove soy milk and donuts at me with a cheeky grin, diffusing any irritation. Every night, regardless of the hour, he'd wait to walk me out, then insist on dinner, claiming my appetite was contagious. Sometimes he'd spam me with online shopping links at midnight. Which outfit looks better? Exhausted. I'd grumble. Rich kids shop online. Don't you wear custom-tailored everything? He'd fire back a voice message. Wrong. High-end tailoring means strangers groping your waist, chest, and hips for measurements. I'd rather buy 10 online pieces in that time. On stormy nights, he'd show up with barbecue, declaring grilled skewers in a downpour. Life's perfect combo. Just like that, Michael barged into my life but never crossed lines. We became close friends and neighbors, but my colleagues didn't see it that way. They thought the two of us were dating. After my 108th denial, I couldn't take it anymore and yelled at Michael. Why don't you explain? Michael was sitting on my couch, scooping ice cream spoon by spoon, and mumbled, "What's there to explain to them? Can I control what others think? If they think I'm an idiot, does that make me one?" I rolled my eyes. Besides, I haven't found my dream girl yet. Once I announce it to the world with her, they'll realize how stupid their ideas are. No, they'll just think I'm a shameless climber who got ruthlessly dumped. I thought despairingly. I rummaged through the storage cabinet and pulled out a bottle of body wash. Here, take it. You should stock up on more daily essentials. Michael finished the last bite of ice cream, stood up to take the body wash, his hand brushing lightly against my fingertips. Thanks. I'll Venmo you the money. Then he shuffled back upstairs in his slippers. An hour later, he sent me $52 when I received it. There was a decimal point followed by 2 zeros, but actually, that bottle of body wash only cost $26, I thought gleefully. Score. A life went on uneventfully, and 9 months passed in the blink of an eye. Michael and I still kept up our constant companionship routine. though lately I kept catching glimpses of a familiar figure out of the corner of my eye. But when I looked closely, no one was there. I shook my head. Was I imagining things? But as it turned out, I wasn't. That day when I got off work, John was standing outside the company building. And Michael happened to be away because he'd forgotten his phone. I frowned with displeasure. Why was John here? I didn't want any interaction with him. So I tried to skirt around him from a distance, but my wrist was grabbed abruptly out of nowhere. John stepped in front of me. His eyes slightly red. Ivy, it's been almost a year. Why haven't you reached out to me even once? I looked up and met his gaze, realizing he seemed much more haggard. He had a stubble shadow on his chin. Clothes that used to fit perfectly now hung loosely. And his posture wasn't as upright as before. Clearly, he hadn't been doing well lately. I brushed his hand away and replied coldly, "Didn't we break up? Why should I look for you?" "But," he said, clearly agitated, "but weren't you so dependent on me? Why wouldn't you want to reach out? You should miss me. How could you live without me? How could you move on so fast?" My frown deepened. "John, no one dies without someone else. What exactly do you want today?" His emotions flared suddenly, and he grabbed my wrist bone again. "Ivy, come back. Really, I shouldn't have pushed you away. I thought I could let you go. But I was dead wrong." He took a sudden step forward. "Come back to me. Okay, let's start over. Like we used to be in love. Every day without you has been torture." I was utterly annoyed and immediately took a big step back, saying coldly, "Didn't you say your Wilson family couldn't marry a murderer's daughter? What's all this now? What about Emily? By my count, she just had a baby. Don't you need to take care of her?" John's step to follow me paused, and after a moment's hesitation, he said in a faint voice, We don't have to get married. Just keep dating. As long as we love each other. Marriage doesn't matter. Right. No marriage. Keep dating." Translate that. And it meant I'd be his secret mistress. A homewrecker everyone would condemn. Suddenly, the man before me felt like a stranger. After 7 years together, I'd never realized such filth lay beneath his surface. I scoffed. "John, you think I'm dirty? And I think you're dirty. What makes you think I'd take back a tainted man?" That seemed to hit a nerve and trigger his rage. His eyes instantly turned bloodshot as he lunged forward and gripped my shoulders hard. "Dirty? You think I'm dirty? Who the hell took care of you down to the last detail for 7 years? Who saved you every time you tried to kill yourself? Who fought like hell whenever people talked shit, just to protect you? And now you call me dirty?" John wasn't holding back at all. My shoulder bones creaked faintly under his grip. I used all my strength to push against his hands and shouted, "Let go. You're hurting me." But he didn't listen, his voice only growing louder. "I am telling you, Ivy, I gave 7 years to you. Anyone else can think I'm dirty, but not you. Why won't you agree? Do you have another man? Lately, I've seen you getting close to Michael. Are you with him?" John's emotions spiraled further, clearly out of control. By then, a crowd had gathered around us, and he took another step closer. "How come I never noticed how good you are at seducing people before? Even someone like Michael got hooked. You use that face of yours a lot. 7 years ago, were you just trying to?" Before he could finish his rant, John was suddenly yanked away. By the time I snapped out of it, John had been slammed to the ground by Michael with such force that the impact echoed heavily. Michael's expression was fiercely vicious like never before, grabbed John by the hair and hauled him up. "Fuck you." Then a kick to the chest sent John flying backward. Michael's sudden brutality shocked everyone. In my memory, Michael had always been a cheerful guy, a playboy with no worries except finding his dream girl. I never imagined he could be this ferocious. Michael bounded forward in 3 quick strides, pinned the struggling John against a pillar, and started punching him repeatedly in the stomach and chest, each blow landing like a ton of bricks. At this moment, John had no ability to fight back at all. There was no way around it. The difference in size and strength was too obvious. Michael grew increasingly fierce. And no one dared to step in to stop him. His anger was like a wildfire spreading across the plains, completely burning away his reason. I rushed forward and wrapped my arms around Michael's back, desperately pulling him backward. Michael, enough. Calm down. I'm fine. Really fine. If you keep hitting him, it could kill someone. With all my strength, I dragged Michael back a few steps, locking my arms around his waist to prevent him from advancing. His chest heaved violently, and I freed one hand to continuously stroke his back. Can you stop being angry? I'm truly okay. I am a bit hungry. Let's go home and eat. All right. I'll make scallion oil noodles for you. They're delicious. And you haven't tried my cooking yet. The verbal soothing had some effect. His rapid breathing gradually slowed across from us. John slowly pulled himself up along the pillar, afraid he might reignite Michael's fury. I quickly moved in front of Michael and forced his head down to look at me. Don't be angry. Let's go home right now. I called over the security guard and pointed at John. Take him to the hospital. I'll cover the medical bills. I tugged at Michael's hand and headed out. As we passed John, he weakly said, if he finds out about your past, what do you think will happen? Michael made a move to charge at him again, but I quickly held him back without acknowledging John. I hurried us away. I drove Michael's Maybach. While he sat sullenly in the passenger seat, the atmosphere in the car was tense and silent. After a while, unable to contain his frustration, he asked, why did you still send him to the hospital? Do you feel sorry for him? I was at a loss for words and sighed. You were too impulsive back then. Completely unable to control your strength. What if he had been seriously injured or worse? Do you think the law is just for show? He turned his head away without responding. Years ago, my dad made a mistake because he was too impulsive, and I deeply regretted not stopping him. Now, I can't just stand by and watch you repeat the same error. He gave me a sidelong, thoughtful glance. Besides, I honked the horn to alert the car ahead at the green light. If you killed someone and went to prison, what would happen to your dream girl? If you're in jail, you won't be able to find her, and she'll end up marrying someone else. Then you'll really be crying about it. I focused on driving, but Michael's gaze grew increasingly intense. So hot that even my peripheral vision couldn't bear it. Moments later, he turned his head away, folded his arms behind his head, and relaxed his posture. You're right. If I went to prison, my dream girl would have no one to rely on. Thanks for stopping me. The evening rush hour traffic was heavy, and we arrived home 10 minutes later than usual. As soon as I opened the door and hung up my bag, I found Michael had already kicked off his shoes without ceremony and was sitting on the sofa. Was baffled. Aren't you going back to your own place? Why are you at my house? He looked equally confused. Didn't you say you'd make scallion oil noodles for me? Are you going back on your word? Fine. I said it. So I'll do it. I put on my apron and went into the kitchen to boil water and wash vegetables. Michael looked around, left and right, occasionally handing me an egg or a spatula, and I suddenly felt a sense of peaceful contentment. When the noodles were almost done, he abruptly spoke up from behind me. Has he had it before? What? I mean, John, has he ever eaten the scallion oil noodles you make? I tilted my head back to look up at him from beneath, and he lowered his gaze to meet my eyes. No. I only learned how to make them recently. Why? He grinned. Nothing. Aren't the noodles ready yet? I'm starving. Michael ate like a man possessed, devouring the bowl of noodles in a whirlwind. Then I unceremoniously shooed him home later. The security guard called to say John had refused to go to the hospital and left after resting a bit. Didn't say much. If he didn't accept treatment, any consequences weren't our fault. Lying in bed, John's final words resurfaced in my mind. He finds out about your past. What do you think will happen? What would happen? I didn't know, but strangely, I wasn't worried. As if I was certain Michael would stand by my side. It was a very peculiar feeling. I shook my head and turned over to fall asleep. The next morning when I woke up, I saw a message John had sent late the night before. Ivy. No matter what it takes. I'll get you back. I immediately blocked him and muttered under my breath. Psycho. On the way to the office, Michael was unusually quiet and didn't initiate conversation. Seeming deep in thought, when we arrived at the company, I noticed people casting subtle, strange glances my way, and snippets of hushed conversations drifted to my ears. That's Ivy Smith. Right. The one they're talking about online. Yeah. It's awful so young and violated like that. I don't know how she got through it, but look. She could heartlessly abandon a boyfriend she'd been with for 7 years. Then immediately go suck up to Michael. Maybe she initiated the previous incident herself. Hey. Don't go spreading rumors like that. My footsteps halted. A chill creeping up my spine. How did these people know? Long ago. These rumors had gnawed at me like maggots in the bone, no matter how hard I covered my ears. They seeped in from all directions back then. I curled up like a fledgling in its shell, praying for someone to save me, but now, I could face it calmly after all. The victim wasn't at fault. I took a deep breath and walked to my workstation. A close colleague tiptoed over to me. Ivy. Someone posted online late last night saying you were hurt and dumped your boyfriend of 7 years. But it was deleted by morning. Did you offend anyone recently? How could such a big rumor spread about you? I understood immediately. John foolishly thought that by subjecting me to another round of verbal attacks, I'd panic like before and run into his arms seeking safety. I smiled faintly. It's not entirely a rumor. Half true. Heartfelt. My colleague looked stunned. Huh? The part about being hurt is true. But abandoning my boyfriend is false. You broke up because he cheated and got someone else pregnant before our wedding. I said it calmly. And my colleague stood there awkwardly. I patted her shoulder with a laugh. Don't worry about it. I've moved on. Just then, the team leader announced that Michael was calling a meeting. Michael spoke confidently about the company's direction and key tasks ahead, making me realize he wasn't just all talk. Finally, I noticed some people in the company today spreading false information behind others' backs. Believe everyone here is a high-caliber professional who understands not to judge without knowing the full story. You all know what to do from here. I froze. Michael knew too. He probably deleted the post. Since everyone seems to have too much free time, the planning team will draft another proposal for the project I just mentioned and submit it to me by tomorrow evening. Meeting adjourned. The room fell silent. Everyone seething but too afraid to speak. Michael had successfully shifted the gossip to criticism of himself. On the way home from work, I sat in the passenger seat and asked, puzzled, how did you get John to delete the post? He replied casually, threw money at it. Bribed the platform. Money can do a lot. If you're still mad, I'll buy trolls to roast him to the top of the trending list. I burst out laughing. Michael was very different from John. After learning about my past, John pitied and sympathized with me, treating me like a fragile porcelain doll, handling me with extreme care. But Michael was different. He saw me as no different from anyone else, didn't go out of his way to comfort me, and treated me like a perfectly normal person, which was all I ever wanted to be. Michael glanced at me and added, hey Ray, some good news. I fired John, huh? He twisted the truth to make you seem cold-hearted. I hate rumormongers. Someone with such low morals can't stay in the company. It'd ruin the atmosphere. I chuckled, having forgotten that Michael was John's boss. Not firing him immediately yesterday was practically an act of mercy. After getting home and showering, I was about to order takeout when I got a frantic message from Michael. Help. SOS. Ivy. If you see this, come to the 17th floor immediately. Immediately. What on earth? I rushed upstairs, baffled, and knocked on the door. Michael flung it open, beaming a huge grin as he pulled me inside. Dad. Mom. See, I really have a girlfriend. No lie. Cancel the match with Mr. Kim's daughter. I'm not going on that blind date. He wrapped his arm tightly around me. I stood stiff as a stone, locking eyes with his parents. Michael pinched me discreetly, and I snapped to attention with a smile. Hello, Uncle. Hello. My name is Ivy Smith. Mr. Taylor scanned me skeptically. You're not tricking us. You really have a girlfriend? Michael nodded eagerly. Mrs. Taylor rolled her eyes. Do you believe that when hell freezes over a last time to avoid a blind date? You said you liked many, was ready to immigrate over it. Then I found you a decent guy from a good family. And you threw a fit, ran away, and moved to this dump. Who knows if you hired an actor to fool us? Michael nudged me twice, and I blurted out, "Aunt, it's a misunderstanding. Michael and I really are dating. Why else would I be here now?" Mrs. Taylor waved a hand dismissively. No. I don't buy it. You're going on that blind date tomorrow. Michael panicked and shouted, "I'll prove it." He spun me around to face him and quickly planted a kiss. It was a fleeting peck, over in an instant. But the soft touch of his lips lingered, refusing to fade. I froze. Staring blankly at him, Michael turned to his parents and shouted, "Believe me now. I couldn't possibly kiss an actress just to trick you." Though he spoke with confidence, a faint blush crept up his ears and neck. Michael's father and mother were so shocked they couldn't speak. Things spiraled out of control. And at the strong insistence of Michael's parents, I ended up joining them for dinner. For some reason, Michael's mother's smile grew brighter and brighter toward me. Before leaving, she held my hand reluctantly and affectionately advised, "My dear girl, I'm entrusting my troublesome son to you. Please discipline him well for me. If he disobeys, just give him a beating. Our Taylor family has always had henpecked husbands. You know." Huh? Oh. Okay. After I gave my affirmative reply, Mrs. Taylor left. Glancing back every few steps, only Michael and I remained in the house. The air thick with awkwardness. These dishes, should I help wash them? It wouldn't be fair to eat for free. Huh? Oh, sure. We went into the kitchen. Every time I finished washing a plate, he took it and placed it in the sterilizer, but we stayed silent the whole time. I felt increasingly uncomfortable after washing up. I stammered, "Well, I'll head back now." Michael opened his mouth slightly as if to say something, but I turned away first. However, water had splashed on the floor during the washing, and I slipped unexpectedly just as I was about to fall. Michael reacted quickly and grabbed me, but he pulled too hard, and I tumbled straight into his arms. To steady himself, he wrapped his arms tightly around me. Everything happened in a flash. By the time we realized it, only our thin clothes separated us, chest to chest, close enough to feel his heart pounding like a drum. Thump, 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 thump. It was rapid yet oddly comforting. We were both steady on our feet, but he didn't let go. 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute passed. I raised my hand and poked his back. "Michael." He murmured, his breath tickling the top of my head. "You like me?" I stated with certainty. He tightened his embrace, holding me closer. "Yes." I smiled. He rested his head on top of mine, a gesture both intimate and relaxed. "Even a fool could tell I like you." I wrapped my arms around him in return, my heart suddenly full. He buried his face in my neck. "I told you. I'd recognize you the first time we met." "When was that first time?" He hesitated for a moment before answering honestly. 6 years ago. John was by your side for 7 years. And I watched over you for 6. I've regretted so many times why I didn't find you sooner. Why I didn't protect you better, but thankfully, I finally have you." "So, was that it? You'd been silently guarding me for 6 years without my knowing. Our meeting by the river wasn't a coincidence but your long-planned scheme." My eyes stung with emotion. Michael released me, gripped my waist, and lifted me onto the counter. Then he stepped between my legs, leaning in close. "I really dug up all the wild vegetables in the city. I deserve some compensation." Smiling, I wrapped my arms around his neck, raised myself up, and pressed my lips to his. He cupped the back of my head and deepened the kiss slowly. Though I'd once been trapped in the mud and betrayed, I still held on to hope for true love. I hadn't done anything wrong. I loved myself and deserved to be loved well in return. Was making breakfast in the kitchen while Michael lounged bored on the sofa. Had shown up early that morning. Knocking on the door. We're boyfriend and girlfriend now, why not just move in with me? Is it because I haven't given you a pigeon egg diamond? I'll buy one tomorrow. Michael sounded a bit sulky. I laughed. Stop it. I paid rent for this place and put down a 2-month deposit. It'd be a waste not to use it. Just then, there was a knock at the door. I went to answer it and found John standing there, looking haggard. Ivy, I waited all day yesterday for your message. Why didn't you come to me? If you absolutely must get married, it's not impossible. I can divorce Emily, just give me a month. And I'll marry you. He leaned in, trying to squeeze in. But I stopped him. Don't move. He sounded a bit impatient. I already said I'll marry you. What more do you want? Your secrets are exposed. Who else would want you besides me? John suddenly paused, his face stiffening. Michael walked over from behind me, wrapping his arms around my neck and hugging me. I told you to stay at my place. See? The scum came knocking. John must have been traumatized by Michael's violence. He took half a step back. Michael, how are you still here? Didn't you know she was? Michael gave him a cold glance. I knew all along. So what? John was left speechless, his face turning red and green. This was a situation he had never imagined. Michael planted a light kiss on the top of my head, flashed a provocative smile, then reached out and slammed the door shut with force. He scooped me up in his arms, carried me to the sofa, gently set me down, and leaned over me. Outside, John seemed to finally snap out of it and started banging on the door. Ivy, open the door. I don't believe it. I don't believe you really don't love me anymore. I've been with you for 7 years. You can't be so heartless. Open the door. Michael buried his head in the crook of my neck, took a deep breath, then slowly exhaled, his breath tickling my neck right now. I'm really relying on sheer willpower not to go out and kill that beast outside. I poked him amusingly. All right. I know you're strong. Call the property management. He pinched my waist and snorted. What do you know? You haven't seen my real strength yet. Michael kissed me several times, then got up to make a call. Before long, John's banging could no longer be heard. Michael pondered. No. I need to find a way to make him never bother us again. Rats aren't worth fearing, but seeing them still affects your mood. What do you want to do? He chuckled. You'll find out later. Later, John indeed never came to see me again. Michael had someone instill in Emily the idea that if a woman doesn't make a fuss, men won't cherish her. Wherever John went, Emily would follow. And if he so much as glanced at another woman, Emily would throw a fit. John should be on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I finally had some peace. Later on, Michael really made good on what he said in the car earlier. On my birthday, he rented all the advertising screens in city BS malls and pedestrian streets, playing a video for 2 whole hours of him saying he'd love me forever. Personally created a sea of flowers in the central square, printed my headshot into giant posters lined up in a row, showcasing my face from every angle without a dead spot. He also hired hundreds of drones to form the words Ivy, marry me above the square, visible to almost everyone in City B. At that height, he knelt in the center of the flower sea, pulled out the diamond ring he'd carefully chosen. With a bright smile, I waited expressionlessly for him to put it on me, then grabbed his collar fiercely. Michael, if you don't take all this down within 10 minutes, I'll show you what murdering your husband means. Ha ha ha. Take what down? It's great. I want everyone in the city to know that Michael loves Ivy to death. It's so. Hey, don't walk away. I haven't finished. I'll take it down. Okay. Ivy, wife, wait for me.